Welcome to this episode of Frontrunner 2020. Lillian, we have another question here from someone without a microphone and audio connection. And Cindy asks, I haven't worked on a campaign yet, but you've inspired me. What kinds of opportunities and tasks do candidates need from volunteers, and how can I have the most impact on the election's outcome?
Well, first you have to work for free, which we all know. For many campaigns, if you don't have volunteers, you can't win. There's very few campaigns that can, afford the kind of woman/man hours that go into running a campaign. But the kind of activities are, they're not glamorous, and they're, knocking on doors and asking people for their vote, helping plan events, making phone calls, doing clerical work, but, all of them important. And, the most important thing that I, working on various campaigns in my life is, putting in the hours, and getting out the vote. And so those, whatever campaign you're contemplating working on at whatever level is, just make sure you're, September, October, and November are free, so you can be there for the GOTV, which is get out the vote, because that's, of course, all that matters is to make sure your voters come out on that day and elect your candidate. But the door-to-door canvassing, the collecting voter information, that is so critical. And usually when someone starts out on a campaign, they, participate at that level. And I do that when I do campaigns now. I end up on the phones, I end up canvassing, because that's what's important. No matter how much experience, that's all that matters is the vote at the end, and that's certainly how the president won in 2008.
That's for sure. Well, let's make that the last question. The ones that we didn't get to, we'll respond to you by email. And Lillian, let me give you the opportunity to make some closing comments.
Yeah, I feel like I talked too much, but I'm really, really excited that there's people out there that are, passionate about this issue as I am. I'm so excited that we might have an opportunity, and, whichever party you're with, if you're an independent or you're Republican or Democrat, whichever party you're with, when we look at it, it just has to change. We cannot keep being governed by the same middle-aged male, quite frankly. It's just not working for us. And I think it's, it's nature's way of saying, that's not who your population is. When you get this kind of gridlock, something at a systemic level is wrong, and we have the opportunity, all of us, of fixing it this time if we can get our women candidates out there. So that's my call to action, and really enjoyed this, and I'm happy to talk to anybody at a personal level. I don't do this for a living, but I'm happy to help. If it helps someone run, I'll talk to you all night long. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ron.
My pleasure, Lillian. I am delighted that you were able to share this time with us, and I know how much time you spent researching and preparing for this, and it fits perfectly in with the mission of Frontrunner 2020, because what we're trying to do is to inspire people to run for office at every level and to get ready. And so I was really delighted to see responses from people who are considering running for office and working on campaigns. Now, Frontrunner 2020, contact information here as we wrap up. The website, as I said, will have the show notes, the transcripts. You can find the first 3 episodes show notes there, as well as registration for upcoming events as they are announced. That's frontrunner2020.com. Our Facebook page is Frontrunner 2020, and we're just getting started, so we really need friends to go there and like that page. Help me out there. The YouTube channel has the video recordings of the first 3 episodes already, and on Tuesday we'll have this one. Follow us on Twitter at Frontrunner2020, and subscribe to the podcast in iTunes and give us a 5-star rating there. And that's all I have to say. Thanks, everyone, for being with us tonight. And now we come to the time of the program where we check in with Dave Bonham. He's the Deputy Campaign Manager at Ellen Cohen for Houston City Council. Dave helps us connect each week's material with the activities of an actual campaign. Dave, what's going on in Houston this week?
Well, we've got 100-degree weather, and we are block walking. And this is actually my first race to do it in the city election. I've only done state representative and state senate before, and it's a different turnout. We're looking at about half of the expected turnout compared to 2010. And when you're block walking, that means the houses are further apart, and you got to take that into account. So always keep that in mind.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't have a lot of experience in that area, and I wouldn't have thought of the differences. A lot of the front runners out there are contemplating a run for a municipal or school board position, and they need to know that.
Yeah, it's a big deal. You always want to look at all the factors that are going to go into your race and equate to turnout. If you have an exciting mayor's race, a few city council members going out, and your race is really exciting, you can expect a lot of people to turn out. But for our race, we don't have that exciting mayor's race. There's basically 2 other races going on in the district, and we're one of them, and we're expected to win. So it's a pretty low buzz, and just not that many people are going to turn out.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting, and I hope that y'all do well, knock on a lot of doors, and do your best to stay cool if that's even possible.
Absolutely.
Lillian, after she talked about women's reluctance to run for office, she made an important point. She said that when they do make a commitment to run, they often win. I'd like to draw on that since you're working with such a strong candidate. Lillian pointed out how women are able to raise money as well as their male counterparts, and she talked about the statistics of them winning elections. So can you talk about your experience at the Ellen Cohen campaign and give the women out in our audience an example of a successful role model?
Absolutely. You look at the field and it's wide open. Like Lillian said, there are not that many women in politics, and people are waiting for good representation. People are waiting for someone to voice their concerns that share them. And a man cannot simply do that for a woman sometimes. And you look at Ellen, and even Houston for that matter, it's an exciting thing when a woman runs. You know, in city council we have 6 women city council members, and our mayor is female. It is something that can be used as an advantage when you look at the polls for Congress, when you look at the polls for the legislature. People are disappointed. People don't want the Washington insiders or even the Austin insiders. They want someone new. And right now, that can be women if you make it so.
Well, Dave, that's interesting. And you've piqued my interest. Could you tell me more about the female representation on the Houston City Council?
Sure. Yeah. You know, like I said, there are 6 women city council members. You have Brenda Stardig, Ann Clutterbuck, Wanda Adams, Sue Lovell, Melissa Noriega, and Jolanda Jones. And if you know anything about them or the city council members we have, they not only are women but also come from varying backgrounds. Some are conservative, some are liberal, some are white, some are African American. It's a wide range. And those women were elected not by luck, because people wanted them there. And they continue to be wanted there.
Well, that's the point. Thanks, Dave. And I know that we're conducting this interview just as you were about to lead a group of volunteers outside to go knocking on doors. So we're going to wrap it up here, and it may seem kind of weird for 2 guys to be here ending the program, issuing a call to action for women, but we're a couple of the good guys, ladies. So, right, Dave?
Exactly. Don't forget that.
Okay. Lillian said in her presentation there are some evolved males that get it. And regardless of how you judge us, the purpose of this program is to motivate you to be confident and go run for office. And I hope that what Dave shared with us about Ellen Cohen's campaign and other Houstonians will be helpful to you as you plot out your future. Dave, do you have any closing comments?
Worst thing that can happen is you lose. That's it. Don't worry about it. If you get the opportunity or if you're thinking about it, talk to someone, because you may not be the most experienced person out there, but there probably is someone that wants to help you. So don't be afraid and go get it.
Great. Thank you, Dave. And that concludes this episode of Front Runner 2020. Thanks, everyone.